Yeah, quantum computing is going to dump because the Trump administration, I don't think, is going to come out with an executive order is supportive of quantum. I think it's going to happen, but we'll see. Yeah, so I think the Trump administration will not be supportive of quantum. The only thing they're going to say is that we need to do PQC, and that's just a software upgrade. Don't need any hardware. That'd be pretty bearish for quantum, I would think. NVIDIA is very strong at it. Mira is a friend of ours. My baby mom, girlfriend, wifey worked for Mira. My portfolio is pretty simple. I'm just short the quantum stocks. Really it. Much to it. I'm just short the stocks. I have some options too, but I try not to deal with options unless I have to. There's just 4, maybe 5, 6 quantum stocks. 4 main ones. And then there's microcap LAES. And then there's another weird one, BTQ. They're all shorts. I mean, hey, don't forget Rigetti. Long Sarepta, 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗶𝗲𝗀. No, who's 𝗟𝗑𝗏𝗡𝗏? Is that the guy that liked ATYR? Oh, this is the guy who works with, this is the husband-wife team. Oh, yeah. I like that guy. Okay, cool. We have some interesting ones here. I'll make a poll for you guys on YouTube. We got RR, NVAX, Okta, AMD, MicroStrategy. So many. I can't look at them all at once. So let's vote on those 4, and then we'll see where we go from there. Rigetti have 8% in my face. Ow! Oh yeah, and then I have some biotech shorts to look at. So anyway, vote on that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a nice day of financial analysis. AMD. What do I know about semiconductors, guys? Come on. You know I'm a farmer, bro. Oh, this kind of like hardware semi sheet I never update because I just don't look at these stocks. But one day I will. Yes, AMD is almost doubled. Now 400 billion market cap. So we're maybe do a deep dive into GPUs and thinking about how to think about this correctly. Let's just go to their website and let's start reading some press releases. Start with they have an analyst day coming in a month. That'll be interesting. Start with last quarter. The AMD OpenAI deal is a little complicated. We're going to dive into that a little bit as well. The circular dealings in the AI space is called an economy. There's really not much to it. Companies buy... In modern capitalism, companies buy and sell goods to each other. It's called a supply chain. We only hire developers in New York City. But yeah, we're pretty much always hiring. We're talking about AMD right now, so let's stick to AMD. Why would I answer questions about biotech right now when we're working on AMD? Think about it. Does that make sense to you? No? Okay, good. Yeah, I got a lot of sleep last night, thankfully. I'm very itchy with the ban button today. Yeah, we've been bullish on Akira from the start, but we're working on AMD right now. Okay, let's check consensus for AMD. Just gonna go to Godel and run the EM command. EM is earnings matrix. Looks like next quarter, Street's expecting 8.7, and the quarter after that, 9.1. So growth slowing. In fact, I could put in all 2026 too. That's nice. Okay. I'm gonna go way back to ancient history for AMD. Just basic vendors. Sagino, software industry, they're data providers. We call them vendors sometimes. And the vendors provide us with data in the form of what's called a API. We take that data and provide it to our users, and we pay the vendor. One big vendor in this space is called FactSet. Another big vendor is called NASDAQ. Hope that answers your question. Big data. We're looking at AMD right now, not giving a basic lecture on software. Okay, so back to the quarterly report. Data center, interesting. So let's see, non-GAAP gross profit. Margins were actually pretty bad last quarter. I remember did the stock tank on that? Okay, so data center for them is not, it includes CPUs. Our recent conversations across the supply chain point to AMD experiencing slowing progress with its AI accelerator business. We think makes it increasingly challenging for them to meet over high expectations this year. Conversations, we show signs that AMD is struggling to grow for many of the customers that announced at its AI event this summer. Market remains challenging with highly demanding customers. Many of the headline customers have only purchased evaluation systems.
that are unlikely to convert into volume orders for at least one generation of MI systems. Interesting. Yeah, so in terms of $1 trillion company being a demarcation line for great or not great, that's not the way I would think about it. I would think about revenues in addition to market cap. IMQ has no revenues. I don't think IMQ could become $1 trillion market cap. If it did, I would admit I was wrong. And, I don't think the market misprices $1 trillion. Market might mispriced. The biggest mispricing ever maybe was Enron, but even Enron had value. CMGI was a big mispricing. I was short of that. I was a teenager. So Elon was another big mispricing. But these things get pretty stress tested. The market's not stupid. Elon isn't some magician. He's not some con artist that can trick the market into $1 trillion of value misplaced, and $300 billion for SpaceX and $200 billion for XAI, another $30 billion for Neuralink. I mean, it's just insane. People who can't understand that, you got to find a new thing to do with your life. Investing isn't it. AMD. This report's from September. AMD did a big event in the summer, which was just 2 months ago, in case you forgot. Elon does not like quantum. 2, he's not starting a quantum company. All right, I feel bad for this Korea man. This isn't for you either, man. You got to stop investing. You got lucky. You're very lucky, Korea man. Soon you will pay the price. Pay the price dearly. Still on AMD. Listen, man, just my Twitter account is enough to turn anyone with a brain bearish on quantum, right? Everybody sees my tweets, okay? Everybody follows me. And I've talked to the biggest venture capital firms in the world. They're all bearish on quantum. There's no future there. The biggest entrepreneurs, the biggest VCs, they follow me. They don't follow your account. Some random Korean guy with 50 grand, all in quantum, super leveraged. No, they don't follow you. They follow me. Why? Track record. Success. Personal relationships. You are nothing. Never forget that. Okay? Never forget that. Because sometimes I think you forget it. And I'm just here to occasionally remind you, all right? You need a reminder. Okay? A daily reminder that you're trash. I sit there and say, please, mister, please follow my Twitter account. Why can't I get past 25 followers? Yeah, I think expectations for AMD are too high. Although, the OpenAI win is, pretty big. I'm still not sure. I think a lot of people are not sure if they believe it. Baker took a bath on that stock, Preston. That was a big L for them. But yeah, they own that stock quite a lot higher, and unfortunately, Kodiak or whatever it's called is not such a good pick for them. I don't know why some of my viewers seem to be handicapped. For you guys, go to see Meet Kevin. Go to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. This isn't for you, man. I actually think about the companies I'm looking at. One way to look at this is we're going to look at NVIDIA revenue too. There's one thing you have to know about technology investing is that DCFs aren't really your best tool. And the reason for this is there's basically this sense that in technology, the incremental change matters quite a lot. All right, so the thing about technology investing is you have this is the company's historical revenue growth, let's say. You kind of have to zoom into this box, but in essence, there's different ways things could go. If you get an inflection point that looks like this is kind of faster growth. That's one thing. If you get an inflection point that maybe this looks like this, kind of normalish growth, maybe you get an inflection point that the quarterly results are this. So basically when the next quarter comes around and you have to figure out where it's going, you might be surprised sometimes when a tech company reports, just like say if you zoom in on this guy, slightly better than expected earnings and it goes up 25%. Why? Well, if you do the DCF of these lines, this company is worth way, way, way more than this company. And it's worth way, way, way more than this company. So those little tiny changes in inflection really do matter. Whereas in pharma and stuff like that, I mean, they also matter in pharma, but there's a little bit more predictability. The lines in pharma are a little tighter. Those three lines aren't as big and different. So it's very, very hard to sort of course, you can predict logarithmic growth on DCF. They can predict any series of cash flow. The problem is you don't know which of those three it's going to be. And these tiny little shifts can make huge differences. You can try probabilities of scenarios, but the problem with that is that you're only as good as your probabilities, and you're just basically averaging to the blue line, which, if it's the green line and the next quarter it's an even better green line, that's how you go from a small cap to a large cap like NVIDIA, right? You could never forecast in the DCF what happened to NVIDIA because it really was this constant question of, well, which one of these threes is it? And then the game resets over here for the next quarter. All these lines disappear, right? All these lines are gone. And the new line for your DCF is, is it green like this, like a hockey stick? Is it blue like this, a smaller hockey stick? Or is it red like this? And the possibility of the zone under here, this zone, is sort of now off the table. So the problem with DCFs is that they don't have Bayesian properties. They cannot update for new information very easily. Only at that quarter do you update the new information. That's why you see these big changes in tech stocks. It's much, much less common in biopharma because what the more or less the bounds. The bounds of the possibilities of what's possible with respect to the kind of bookends of maybe the barriers or the asymptotes of what's possible. You could sort of say, well, the biggest asthma drug ever did this much, and it's good that this launch is going well, but I might have to raise my estimates, but at the end of the day, it's not going to leap off the page like what happened with NVIDIA. Now, again, never say never, but when some number really surprises you in tech, you're really talking about a re-rating, whereas when some number surprises you in biopharma, it typically is less exciting of a re-rate and more of a bit of an adjustment that you have to make that improves the value of the company, no doubt, but it doesn't really make you rethink the company completely. And that sort of can happen very easily in tech. Yeah, increasing reporting to 6 months is going to tech investors for sure. I mean, the smallest hints to changes of growth are really what tech investors are looking at. They're looking for these tiny inflection points that could really presage massive changes like what happened with NVIDIA. If the products start, that's why next quarter is going to be really important for AMD. I mean, if they're saying that they do this call apparently with the sell side before the quiet period starts, and they said that 𝗔𝗍𝗓𝗍 is going exceedingly well. I don't think they'd say that if it wasn't happening, but at the same time, I'll do some channel checks with my AI guys, but I don't get the vibe that anybody wants AMD chips. So again, I'll do a DCF, but it's not really going to be a fantastic system here. I'm going to look at some patents for AMD as well. I'm going to look into the roadmap. I think that one philosophical perspective on AMD is NVIDIA kind of is going to need a counterweight. And in some ways, it's probably going to be a 𝗣𝗀 more than it's going to be AMD, because 𝗣𝗀 is making the accelerator. And the accelerator is a little more exciting for the AI companies because the accelerator is really custom built ASIC for TPUs, for example, for the use case. Making a GPU to compete with NVIDIA, I'd almost rather make the accelerator. And that's why 𝗣𝗀's got a big market cap. I don't think AMD is winning any inference race, but we can look at let's look at semi-analysis, see what they think. There's apparently something coming soon from semi-analysis, some big thing. The last time they talked about AMD in here. For the past 6 months, AMD has been in wartime stance. They've been working hard and working smart towards their goal of being competitive with NVIDIA. At its Advancing AI event, AMD launched the 350X, 355X, which could be competitive to B200 for inference of small to medium LLMs on performance per TCO basis. Notwithstanding the reality distortion field projected by AMD, MI355X is not a rack scale product. It's not competitive with B200 at frontier model inference or training. Little reality distortion field. MI400 will be the true rack scale solution that could be competitive in the second half of next year. And that's going to be against the Vera, or Rubin, I should say. The Rubin R200. We already did V200, the Volta. Not real UA link, okay. You guys talking about some quantum prices dropping? It'll all collapse soon. Yeah, Harold, it's like 10%. Google says dozens of organizations affected by Oracle-linked hacking campaign. Massive amounts of customer data were stolen. Oracle eBusiness Suite 0-day. On the 29th of September, Mandiant began tracking a large-scale extortion campaign by a threat actor claiming affiliation with 𝗏𝗏. High volumes of emails to executives at numerous organizations alleging theft from Oracle eBusiness Suite reported that threat actors may have exploited vulnerabilities by emergency patches, CVE 2025-61882. 𝗏𝗏s is a data leak site established in 2020. We are 𝗏𝗏. Dearest executives, we are 𝗏𝗏 team. If you haven't heard about us, you can Google about us on internet. We have recently breached your system and copied a lot of documents. All the private files and other information are now held on our systems. But don't worry, you can always save your data for payment. We do not seek political power or care about any business. So your only option is to discuss conditions and pay claimed sum. In case you refuse, you will lose all data. Some of it will be sold to black actors, the rest will be published on our blog. We always fulfill all promises and obligations. We have carefully examined the data we got, and regrettably for your company, this analysis shows that estimated financial losses, harm to reputation, and fines are likely to materially exceed the amount claimed. Lower, you see our contact email. We can show you any 3 files you ask or data row. We're also ready to continue discussing next steps after you confirm you're a representative, not interested in destroying your business. We want to take the money and you not hear from us again. Time is ticking on clock. And in few days, if no payment, we publish and close chat. Please convey this information to your executive and managers as soon as possible. After a successful transaction and receipt of payment, we promise technical advice. We never publish your data. Everything we download will be delete with proof. Nothing will ever disclose. Decide soon and recall that no response result in blog posting. Name is first and soon data after. We advise not reach point of no return. Pretty sophisticated attack here.
Top news alert, Delta Airlines offers bullish outlook on higher fares demand recovery. U.S. research roundup, ExxonMobil, IQVIA Holdings, Oracle.
Okay, it says MI355X will have similar collective performance as the HGX B200, but MI355X collectives will run at least 18 times slower than GB200 NVL72, if not even slower. So it sounds like what they're saying is it's not competitive against NVLink or the 8X instance. The reality distortion field, the 128 GPU rack is not a rack scale solution. It only has to scale up world size of 8 GPUs, whereas you have 72 on the NVLink, and it'll beat it on TCO. They're raising pay for AMD engineering. Broadcom Ethernet Tomahawk 6, Astera Labs and Marvell. And it looks like 2027 MI500 roadmap looks pretty promising with 256 logical chips, which may be competitive against Rubin 300, which will have 144 chips. I'm not sure about that, 𝗏𝗏. I mean, are you seeing evidence of that other than, all right, so 355X, 1400 watts, air cool and DLC liquid cool. Okay, so for inference, the floating point 6 is faster than B200 floating point 6, but I think you can go to floating point 4. So yeah, it would be slower. Interesting little subtlety there. But I guess what they're saying is it's not rack scale, so it doesn't even matter.
High stock valuation sparking investor worries about market bubble.
B300. Yeah, I guess the only issue with the AMD chip is, one, you have the CUDA, you have the software side. And then even for inference, you need rack scale, honestly. Okay, so you get 8 Xbox isn't that bad, I guess, but I like Spruce a lot. So on floating point 4, which is I think what most people use for inference, that's where NVIDIA shines. See, this is why I don't really know this space that well. No, they don't use Int4, float 4. Did I say Int4? Int4 is no integers around here. TTS is coming from Godel, godelterminal.com. Check it out. Anoush, AMD's AI software king. So this is their 𝗠𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗀𝗀. He's basically their GeoHots. Let's go Anoush.
What we should take away from this is that we have about 7 of the 10 largest AI companies using Instinct. What we should take away from this is that AMD is investing for the long run, and the Instinct platform is ready.
I don't believe you. Okay, so next year, oh no way. I've been making fun of this guy, but I didn't know this existed.
After last night's call, it actually almost seems redundant to talk about Tesla. But Tesla is still a zero. And that's a play on a presentation I gave at the Robinhood conference.
What's wrong with this guy? Honestly, he needs meds.
LAES, banger.
Do you have an ENPH target for today? Yeah, I kind of messed up my entry a little bit, so I ended up with like a double-sized position, and it's good, but I just didn't want to do the too early.
Anyways, I think it's gonna go to 37.64. I think it's gonna reject, and it's gonna retest 37.33, and then it's gonna go up from there, and go to my PT for the day is 37.97. If it breaks that, break meaning I need a clean break, so 2-cent break, so 37.99. If it breaks that, then the highest PT for today would be 38.35.
Thanks. I think I had 37.89. Is that what you just said, or 97? I had something close to that.
I have an earnings play for today.